Hi, everyone. My name is Tanya Hertz, and I'm the director of the Regional Entrepreneurship Center, the Rec Innovation Lab at San Diego Miramar College. And I'd like to thank our partners at this time and give a special thanks to SDSU's Lavin Center, the SDSU Zip Launchpad. We'd like to thank the California Entrepreneurship Educators Conference. Also like to thank Harness, the Brink SBDC at USD, San Diego Unified Schools. We'd also like to thank the School of Entrepreneurship and Technology, High Tech High, the Regional Advisory Committee, Alex Waters at the Jacobs Center, Connect All, 21IQ Labs, Startup Quest, Productified. I'd like to thank Course Key and Tech Coast Angels. Thank you to Village Up, City Heights Development Corporation, San Diego Angel Conference, Startup San Diego, SBDC, Score San Diego, We Are Kingdom, New Media Rights, San Diego Tech Hub, Origin 63, Ambrosio 15, OmniSync, Optima Office, Proven Recruiting, Craft Leadership, GS&L Consulting. Thank you to all of our partners. We couldn't do what we do without you. Thank you.
So hi, everybody. As some of you might already know, we have Gwen Franco here. She's been a longtime partner of the Rec, basically ever since we started. She's given so many presentations with us and so many of our students and anybody who's gone to any of her events. Just love how authentic and how much insight she can give to just entrepreneurship and just leadership in general. A little bit about her is that she's had over a decade of experience in like human resources and working with global talent management development. And she has her own brand called Craft Leadership. And with that, I'll hand it off to Gwen to introduce herself. Thank you for coming, Gwen.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. I am so, look at this, and my camera just changed. It's so great to see everyone. And by see everyone, I see names and pictures. And my Wi-Fi has been a little tricky this week. So if I start to lose a signal or something, I will be turning off my video just to let everybody know. But I turned my hotspot on. So I'm hoping that works.
And if everybody just keeps their videos and cameras off, I'm sorry, and their microphones off as well, that does help. It does help with the bandwidth. If you have questions, though, put them in the chat. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm very excited to be here with the rec community again. And we're going to talk about this topic that is so fundamental and so important when it comes to entrepreneurship and really just in life, really. And it has to do with confidence building. So excited to share this with you all. Just a little information about what our journey together, some of the main topics. We're going to talk about what confidence is and understand the definition that we have, understand how we build confidence. Why is it important that you need it? And then we're going to cover 4 sustainable confidence building strategies that I have identified and that I practice. So I'll be sharing with you also things that I do in my confidence building as a professional, as an entrepreneur, and really just as an individual. And you will need a pen and paper for some of the activities that we'll be doing because there are some questions and reflection that we'll be doing. And I encourage you to take the time to do it now that we're together. So
looks like we lost Gwen for a second there. So
something to write with, or if you have a computer, whatever works. What? I'm sorry.
That was good timing, you see?
Yeah.
Because you were asking us to go get something and you blanked out.
Yeah, you cut out just a little bit. Yeah, it's no problem.
I did. I'm just gonna go ahead and, like I said, turn off my video because anyways, you're just looking at the presentation and hopefully that does help.
Does a computer notepad work or do we need a pen and paper?
Oh no, whatever you would like, whatever works, whatever it is, and this is for you. This is absolutely for you. So whatever works. All right, just quickly, I always have my little introduction that I do about myself. Just for those of you who don't know me, it's your first time attending one of my sessions. I work for Hyatt Hotels. However, I'm an entrepreneur with Hyatt and I branded myself inside of Hyatt with Craft Leadership. And as you can see, I had fun with my branding, had a koozie because everyone always needs a koozie. And I had a cool t-shirt. So I've been with Hyatt for 13 years. I am now manager at the corporate office, and I'm part of the global talent management team. And I'll explain a little bit about what that is. Like I said, I created Craft Leadership in about October of 2017 and branded all the work that I did. But I also had a podcast that I launched within Hyatt in February of 2019. And that podcast is still available. However, I'm in the process of creating and launching a new global podcast within Hyatt. So really excited for that. At the Rec Center, I lead workshops around leadership and soft skill development, primarily emotional intelligence, team building, and confidence building, a lot of building, as you can see. I am also a mentor with various startups. And when I talk about talent management, really what that encompasses is in building culture. That's my specialty. And, thinking about what's your company culture, what is it that you want it to be, and how do you drive that? Talk about onboarding. So what is the experience of people when they are joining the team in the company? Organizational development, how does the organizational structure work? And why is that important, and how that can drive your culture? Training, performance management, so helping people get better, and how do you define that? How do you manage that? Recruitment and coaching. So all of those things, all of those different things fall into global talent management. And I am in no way an expert in all of them, but I touch a little bit of all of them and enjoy doing that work. So let's get into the heart of our conversation, which is confidence, right? So when we think about confidence, I want you to think about, how do you define confidence? The actual definition in the dictionary is listed here, right? It's a belief and attitude about your skills and abilities. So confidence is really grounded in the belief of you. And in that belief, there's an acceptance and a trust in yourself and how you will be able to handle and manage different things, and the sense of control that you have in your life or around that particular activity or area, right? So throughout your life, your personal life, your career, your professional journey, your confidence is going to change. And I think that's one of the greatest things that we need to understand when it comes to confidence, is that it's not just you have a certain level of confidence that you are always at. Because think about, as you enter new stages in your life and do new things, so when you're trying a new task, a new project, a new skill, or there's a vast change, that can impact your confidence. But what we have to understand is that's the level of confidence that we have for that specific task or that specific area. So I want us to make sure that we can see how our confidence, our definition of it, can be expanded, because that's what's going to help us in building confidence. No one is immune to feeling insecure. Everybody has insecurities. Everybody has self-doubt. The thing is that they don't have to hold you back. So insecurity plagues people consciously, subconsciously, everybody, every human being. So know that those insecurities will exist, and they come to the surface much more when you are encountering something new. However, what we want to do is build practices that we can lean on in those moments, so that we can still have courage, because that is what's going to have you take risk and continue to move forward. Confidence is very, very important because it's connected and supports so many things, right? I just spoke about courage. And so in order to be courageous, right, and to take risk and to do new things, which entrepreneurs very much have to do, and just really people in life do, you need to have confidence, right, to be courageous. So I really like this quote from Tony Schwartz, where he says, confidence equals security equals positive emotion equals better performance, right? So when you think about it for yourself and you bring that into entrepreneurship, you want to perform the best way that you possibly can. So sometimes it's the underlying part that we need to work on, which is the confidence. And that's what we really want to focus, because as it builds up, it's going to impact the way that you perform, the way that you drive your business, and all parts of it. So how do you build confidence? We now understand better about what confidence is. So confidence comes from a belief and attitude. So remember how we were talking earlier about the definition of confidence. And we really talked about that trust in yourself. So that trust has to do with a belief. So what you believe, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, will definitely affect the result. So if you think about it, this belief leads to impact, right? So that's what I want us to focus our time on today, is the belief part. So focus on the belief part of you and the understanding of you, because through that, we're going to be able to highlight more of how to build your confidence. So I said earlier that when I share different trainings and I do different workshops with the Rec Center, a huge one that I primarily do, I think that I'm known for, is emotional intelligence. And so now what I want to do is I want to connect emotional intelligence with confidence building, right? And right here it says clarity drives confidence. And the first line says you need to get to know yourself. So the foundation of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. And in knowing yourself, you know why you're doing things, what you're doing and such. It makes you feel so much more in control. And having a better understanding of yourself can help in driving your confidence. And I'll continue to reiterate this as we go along and I talk about other topics, about how it connects to you knowing yourself. So here are some questions that I have posed for you to think about. And these, you can write them down, and I can absolutely share this presentation and these questions as a follow-up.
Gwen, just wanted to let you know your microphone is cutting out a little bit. It sounds a little bit staticky.
Oh, it does? Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's take a moment. I'm sorry about that.
No worries. Everybody has internet troubles. I know Zoom itself has been having internet troubles just from the sheer amount of people that have been on here.
Yeah, make sure you have no other background. Make sure you have no other background, like if you have Explorer or any other things, just shop them because they're taking bandwidth.
What I did, I closed everything. I was on this with Stephen, and thank you, Ray. I recognize your voice.
There you go. You sound good again.
I do. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to call in, because I think then that way we don't have to worry about that, and I just have to worry about.
Okay. Will you be able to share your slides, or would you like me to share your slides for you while you call in?
No, I can still share. I still have them shared. Don't worry.
And sometimes your background tasks, even though you've cut all your foreground, may still be working, like email, and so they're synchronizing, and that takes stuff. So, yeah.
How does it feel to be recognized on air, Ray?
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, you have a very distinct voice, and you are a central figure in the reg, so I think it's a good thing, definitely.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because it really, it's one of the most aggravating things for everybody, including the speaker, right?
Oh yeah, so. It's aggravating when we have to stop the presentation halfway through, especially when it's a presentation as great as Gwen's.
Yes, that's why I'm here. I really enjoy Gwen's stuff. So.
Yeah, I'm sure we all enjoy Gwen's stuff, and hopefully she can get back in time. I see her moving her mouse back there. Can you still hear us, Gwen?
Am I back?
You're still here.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're a little bit quiet, so you might have to talk a little bit louder.
Yeah. What about now? I'm on my phone now. I called in.
You sound, it's slightly lower, but I think it's still good enough to hear. Can everybody else hear her fine?
Yes, please let me know. I'm sorry.
All right. Sounds like everybody can hear you fine.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. So I think where I was saying that these questions are here to help in driving your clarity, so that you understand yourself, understand your foundational self more. So that's something that's very, very important, because that will build your foundational confidence, which will be what we use in the future for those times when you are trying new challenges, have sudden changes and things like that, that you then can lean on this foundational confidence that you have to help build confidence in these new areas. which is especially important as an entrepreneur, right? As an entrepreneur, your plan, if you look at the first image there, is we think, oh, easily, we're going to get to the finish line. This is what my journey is going to look like. When in actuality, it's more of that bottom image, right? So there's lots of obstacles, lots of challenges, lots of changes along the way that really test and challenge you. And there's a lot of skills that you need as an entrepreneur that you were not aware of. And so I have some of those listed there, are just some of the skills that entrepreneurs, that really founders need to have. And so I don't know about you, but I think of that list, I have maybe 2 or 3, and the other ones I would say, no, I'm not very good at, or I've never even tried those kinds of things. However, in order to scale a business, those are things that you're going to have to use, you're going to have to do in some way, in some fashion. And so it's a matter of what would it look like? And then of course, as you continue to grow your business, who are people that you can have alongside you that will help you along the way. So now that we understand all of that when it comes to confidence, what it is, how to build it, and the importance of it, let's now talk about what are 4 sustainable confidence building strategies that you can utilize. So these strategies have internal and external practices that are going to help you in building your confidence. So I want you to know that in building your confidence, it can be complex. You know, it's something that takes work, but really what doesn't? Everything that is worth it takes work. So what you want to do in helping with your confidence building is you want to do practices daily that help support in your foundational confidence in yourself. So this is where you will need more of the pen and the paper for us right now. So let's go ahead and get going. So here is my first one, and it is to honor unique you, really. So a big thing is when we agonize a lot on what others might think of you, what others may think of who we are in our work, right? But that is a huge, incredibly bad self-habit that we have. Simon Sinek has a fantastic video where he talks about this, where he speaks about comparison, how we really like to compare ourselves to other people, and how this is such a self-destructive habit, and how we do that when we're comparing also with other people, because what we tend to look for in the other person is they have the strength. All of my weaknesses, they have as strengths, right? And so that's where the comparison is, and that is not healthy in helping us in any way. So we want to shift that perspective, and we really want to focus on what is the unique perspective that you bring. And so I have these 2 questions here for you, where I want you to think about it, is what makes you unique? And once again, in doing this self-reflection, you're understanding yourself more. And what are tangible ways that you can be reminded of this? So and that's the power of building your confidence, in that it's not just a one-time practice and you set it aside. It needs to be brought into your daily life in a practice in some way. So I'm going to share with you what I do for myself in my confidence building. And some suggestions is to post up signs, quotes, create an email folder, a picture folder, or some notepad of some sort, right? So if you look here over to the left, you see here where it says good stuff that feels good. So I have my work email, and I have tons of folders where I try to organize. I try to manage my email, but I can assure you I'm not very good at it. But I do have a folder that says good stuff that feels good. So whenever I get an email from somebody, and this could happen in your personal email or your professional email, right? But you'll get an email where someone says, hey, good job, or, great job on the presentation, or you're rocking it. I'm cheering you on, whatever it may be. So those emails often either they're deleted or they get lost in all of the emails that you get. So what I do for myself is I have this folder, and I put those emails in that folder. And then when I need that little pep talk, when I need that little boost, sometimes if I'm going to present something, have a conversation with someone, if I'm going to try something new, I have this readily available for myself, that I can go in there and I can be reminded of, how people support me and how others view me, instead of maybe I'm telling myself that I'm not going to perform very well, or that I'm really nervous, or what if I mess up, all these negative thoughts that we have, this bad self-talk. I try to listen to positive self-talk. And so the key thing about this is to have it readily available when you need it, so that you don't have to go searching for it. If you start building it, then in that moment when you need it, it's there and it's easy to find. Because if it's not easy to find, it's not convenient for us, we probably won't access it. That's very much how we are as individuals now. In my restroom, and I have this little Post-it note, and so I'll write positive mantras for myself. And I tend to write these mantras based on what I need that's going on in my life. So I'll write those, and then I like to stare at them when I'm brushing my teeth, and I repeat them to myself in the morning. So it's part of my daily practice. And then in my cell phone, I have in my photo album, I have a photo album called You Da Bomb. And I save quotes there that inspire me, that fire me up, that make me feel good. And then if I get, just like I get emails that make me feel good, I get text messages, and I'll take screenshots and I'll add them to this photo album as well. Once again, so that I'm building something that's readily available for me when I need it, and that's convenient because it is on my phone, and I always have my phone with me. So if I need to access it anywhere that I'm at, and I need that little pep talk, I need that little sense of encouragement, I have it ready for me. All right, another one is to practice and have a ritual. I can't tell you how much practice will build your confidence, and it tends to be one of the least things that we do. And it also really improves quality. I want you to know that practice tends to outperform natural aptitude more often than you think. We think that people just naturally are good at something and can do something, but if you practice enough, you might even outperform people with natural aptitude that are just good at something, right? So it's the practicing that's going to help in building your confidence and in repeatedly trying things. And I keep using the example of a presentation because that's one of the number one fears of people in the world is public speaking, right? So if you have to present something, think about how many times are you practicing and presenting that presentation before that moment when you have to do it, versus when you just go out, you just do it, and then you don't perform as well, but you didn't practice. So then you're just reaffirming that voice that you're hearing that's telling you that you're not going to do well. So, and practice with those around you that you feel safe with. Practice with people who can give you honest and genuine feedback. And then when you are in that moment that you need to do that, take that risk, whatever it is, what's your ritual? How do you talk to yourself? So a really important part of that is to create a positive talk self ritual. And part of that positive self-talk ritual is accessing those things that I talked about earlier, right? And when you have those, that photo album in your phone, if those emails that you're reading, but then also what's the conversation that you're having in your head with yourself, right? And so here are some power statements for you that you can select to have one or two and just fill in the blank with it, because what you're doing is there's a reasoning portion there that you're doing with yourself, right? Self-doubt and insecurity, like I said, are always going to be there, but how can you almost out-reason yourself? How can you be smarter than that voice in your head? And powerful questions. So these are questions. So if you're feeling doubt, so it's going to be, you have to know which approach is better for you. Is it by saying a statement or is it by questioning? So know which one is more effective for yourself. And these are questions that you can ask yourself when you're feeling those moments of doubt, those moments of insecurity. They're going to help you and feel more confident so that you're able to continue to move forward. My third one is to be vulnerable. So you really need to take the time with self-awareness to know and to understand yourself, know your strengths and know your shortcomings, and really, really be honest with yourself. So these are two more questions that I challenge you to respond for yourself. So what are your strengths and how do they show up? You have to remember that you can't be good at everything. That's a very unrealistic expectation to have of yourself. So you need to be willing to ask for help. But you also need to know what you are good at, because the more that you know at what you're good at, and you can then accept what you're not good at, and then know where to ask for help. So this builds your confidence because you're not expecting yourself to have all the answers. And I think the other thing to understand with this is it also helps in you honoring your word. So Brendan Burchard is a person who talks about this a lot. He talks about congruence and incongruence when it comes to the mind. And so think about it, when you don't know necessarily what you're that good at, and you just want to kind of take a risk and do something, and then you don't follow on your word, right? Whatever you commit to, whatever you say you're going to do, you don't necessarily complete. And what the brain does is the brain keeps score, right? The brain remembers what you didn't do. And then in moments when you need to do that task again, or you need to take a risk again, the brain's going to remember, and it's going to tell you, hey, you want to say you want to do this, but you don't complete these things. You don't follow through on your word. Or you did this and you weren't good at it. Why? Maybe because you didn't practice, or you didn't ask for help, whatever it is, right? So the more that you understand and know that about yourself, the more that you'll also be able to be a person of your word and know, here's where I can perform and here's what I can commit to. So that's the score that is being kept in your brain, because our brain is something incredibly tricky, right? Is much more positive and in your favor for future use. Versus if you don't know or understand yourself, you're going to commit to things that you can't follow through on. And once again, you're just reiterating and adding more, proving that story that you're telling yourself where you can't make it. So there's a lot of a mental head game that we have to do here, but we can master it. Those questions that I just had up there, I responded them so you could see a little bit about this story of how you could tell yourself, where you talk about what your strengths are, right? And I wrote down some of my strengths of how I see myself. And then I wrote about how do I leverage my strengths, right? So I put here that I'm good at connecting with others and creating relationships with other people. So when I think about that, right, I create genuine connections with other people. So if I make a mistake, they will be understanding. Because that tends to very, very much be a part of people, is that they strive for perfectionism. And perfectionism happens very, very commonly, especially even with entrepreneurs, right? You want to be perfect. And that's just, we need to have a healthy respect for failure. And with perfectionism, that's completely the opposite, right? So we're afraid of making a mistake and of failing. But that's not what we want at all. We don't want to be perfect. We want to have a very healthy relationship and respect for failure, because from failure, we all know very much so, comes a tremendous opportunity for growth, for learning, for recreation, all sorts of things. So that's a shift in the perspective that you have to have with failure, not necessarily with perfectionism, because when you respect and honor failure, it will help in lessening that desire so much to be perfect.
It's funny that you bring that up, Gwen, because we had 2 other workshops this week, and both of those entrepreneurs, they focused on how failure is such an important process for entrepreneurship, and that in order to grow as not just an entrepreneur, but also as a person, like you said, it's important to understand and respect failure as opposed to just rejecting it and trying to be perfect all the time.
Yes. Very, very well said. And that's exactly what it is. What we tend to do is we're like, okay, perfectionism, I want to be perfect, but it's like, well, why do I want to be perfect? And you have to look at what's driving that. And it's that rejection of failure. But once you become comfortable and more accepting of it, that desire and that pressure that you put on yourself to be perfect will disseminate more, much, much more. So I'm so glad to hear that we're all aligned. And look at that, we didn't even plan this. And the workshops for the week, we're talking about the same message. All right, great. And my last one, your 4th strategy that I have, and this is absolutely one of my favorites, is surround yourself with strong circles that build, support, and drive your confidence, right? You are your greatest investment. So you have to spend the time investing in yourself. And I applaud all of you, because just in being here, you're investing in yourself. And so you have to invest your time in developing yourself so that you bring to life the impact that you want. So who do you have that's supporting you? And do you know what they support you for? So the people, I have three different, and I encourage you all to respond to these. So who are the people that inspire and motivate you, and why? And these tend to be other business people, maybe celebrities, maybe thought leaders, whoever it may be, right? Who are these people that inspire you, and why? How often do you hear them and see them? So how is it? Is it through reading? Is it through videos, social media, podcasts? What is it, and with what frequency? So really figuring that out. What does it look like in your day, in your week, in your month, right? Next is, who are the people who cheers you on no matter what, and what do they cheer you on about? So this tends to be your circle around you. It's your friends, it's your family, it's your partner, it's loved ones, whatever it may be, right? And so how do you hear them and see them? Is it through phone? Is it through text, through email, through video, whatever it may be? And then how often? It's assessing that in that sense, right? Who gives you feedback when you need to hear it, and about what? So this tends to be sometimes, is it professors? Is it other founders? Is it mentors? Who is it, right, that these people can give you the feedback that you need to hear? It can also be friends and family member. It can absolutely, right? But it's just identifying who are these people in these different categories. How often are they a part of my life? How often am I hearing from them? Am I talking to them? And it needs to be more often than you think, because the more often you're having these conversations with these people, the stronger the belief that you will have in yourself. And remember, confidence is built on belief. And that's what we're focused on, because belief leads to impact. So that's why we want this to be a regular part of your day, a regular part of your week. So I can tell you for myself, I make sure that my social media is not just, funny memes that I'm seeing, but it's also in between me scrolling through funny memes. I also get a little dose of something that's going to educate me, something that's going to inspire me. And they're from people that I respect, people that I admire, right? And I have videos, I have practices of newsletters that I read that come directly into my inbox that also help me and educate me in feeling good and hearing messages that I need to keep me motivated. And I have regular contact with, and I surround myself with people who I know are going to help me be better and are supportive of me, and that with my friends, family, and other relationships. And then I have my mentors that I regularly meet with, and that I know that when I need feedback, I can turn to them. And I have those established relationships. So like I said, I am ready. So we want to be very proactive in building our confidence. We don't want to be reactive. So you want to have practices in place, and you want to have things identified so that you are ready come that moment. You don't want to wait until that moment and then you're trying to figure these things out, because that's just going to impact your sense of nervousness and your sense of confidence in that moment. So we want to be very proactive. I have a fun little activity for you all, which is not for right now, but remember I talked about taking risks. So when you take risk, it really builds confidence in other areas of your life. So it creates a greater belief in your ability to take risk, and you have courage, and this gives us an experience in facing our fears. So sometimes in little things, right? I will tell you, I am, and I think I said this last time and I still haven't done it, so shame on me. I am afraid of riding a scooter. So just those regular scooters that are everywhere, all over, I am afraid of riding a scooter. And I have told myself I want to get on this scooter, right? And it's a fear of me that I have because I'm so afraid of falling and of hurting myself, right? But think about it for yourself other times when there's an activity or something that you're going to do that you're afraid of doing, and then once you do it, how good you feel, and how you feel just a little more confident. You feel a little bit more like, oh, that wasn't so bad. I actually performed better than I thought, And so in the next time that you want to take a risk, you won't, and the more often that you do, that you're facing those little fears, that confidence is going to transcend into other areas of your life. So I have this challenge for you about what are three things you're afraid to do or try, and to figure out what those three things are, and then challenge yourself to do 1 to 2 of them in the next week. And if you can do all three, even better. But I challenge you to do them, because the more often that you're trying new risks and doing that, that confidence is going to build for you, and it's going to transcend, like I said, into other things. I want everyone to remember that this is a journey in building your confidence. You absolutely cannot be good at everything. So please release that expectation of yourself. Really have confidence in your ability to learn. That's what you need to have so much confidence in yourself, because you're not going to be good at everything, but you can learn. You can learn lessons, and you can recover, and you can keep moving forward. Whenever you step into something new, you're always going to have self-doubt. So you can be incredibly confident in another area of your life, and then there's a change, or there's a new risk, or it's something new that you're trying, and you feel self-doubt, and that's perfectly okay. Have confidence in your ability to learn. Figure out what you're good at and use that knowledge and belief to build strong foundational confidence. Remember, when we have that strong foundational confidence, that's going to be the confidence that we're going to lean on when we're in this new challenge, when we're taking a risk and doing such, to help move us forward, so that we can build more confidence when it comes to that particular activity that we're talking about. And confidence is really rooted in self-awareness and knowing yourself. Remember to have a healthy respect for failure, and this takes work and it takes time. But the more that you put it into your daily practice, the more that it will be there when you need it. And that is my presentation. If anyone has any questions, I am more than happy to respond. I will stop sharing in just a moment.
Thank you so much, Gwen. I had a question, and anybody else has a question, feel free to type it in chat, or just unmute yourself, or raise your hand, or anything that works. My question is, we talked a lot about like deprogramming yourself for perfectionism, but having grown up in that like environment and as like a kid growing up, it's kind of like deeply ingrained into me. Do you have any books or any like people that you would recommend to, like, besides you, of course, to just watch, to kind of watch or to read about, and just to like kind of help with that deprogramming process? Because I know for me, it's personally ingrained in like my very being to be perfectionist at everything, and it's hard to get past that.
No, I think that's something that we have to acknowledge as well, right? How sometimes it has to do, like, we are tremendously a product of our upbringing, and it has to do with, there's so many different influences in there, right? Our environment, our culture, I can't even name all of them, right, that impact it. So people that personally for me, I can't tell you one about perfectionism, because I actually I'm like, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be perfect. It's not going to happen. But people that I really respect and I think speak to this, and I talked to them a little bit, talked about their names. I said Simon Sinek. I said Brendan Burchard, other people that I really respect and listen to. I don't know how to say his last name because I just know his social media name, but it is Gary Vaynerchuk, something I cannot remember, but I can email you this information as well. I will say Rachel Hollis, Jay Shetty. I'm trying to think. There's a couple other, but I would say those main ones that I just talked about. And I am constantly looking for new people with new messages to educate myself. So I'll make a special note to try to find some tools around this perfectionism, but like I said, I don't think it's necessarily around perfectionism. I told you, I think it's more around the acceptance of failure and the healthy relationship with failure. Mm-hmm. So I think it has to be from that angle that you're looking to nurture that sense of releasing the sense of perfectionism.
Yeah, definitely what you said. For me, it, like you said, it really wasn't perfectionism. I just used that term because that's what I'm familiar with. But reflecting back on it is more of, in my cultural upbringing, is more like you can't fail. If you fail, then like you just can't fail. There's like no room for failure at all, which is completely opposite of what I've been learning in the professional world. So I'm glad that you're able to express that and help me reflect on that. And I'm sure help everybody else here reflect on that as well.
Yeah, and I would expand your definition of failure. Like, is failure the task, or is failure like the entire goal? So what is it? Like, there's failure task, but it doesn't mean you have failed at your goal. So it's really expanding that definition of it also, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I said, for me, a failure is just like failure. If you fail at one thing, you're like a failure at the rest of it. It's not like individual steps, like you said. And that's just really hard to
So who's
program.
that? Who's saying you're a failure? See, Gwen, this all gets back to Steve. Who's calling you a failure, and what is your relationship to them, and how do you view that, and what's your own confidence in yourself? Screw them.
And
seriously, right?
And sometimes I would say, you were saying how, Stephen, you were saying how you were raised. Sometimes we have, Ray, and you bring up a good point, right? We'll have people in our circles that maybe aren't people that we're going to remove, right? They're going to be people that are going to be there, and that maybe don't their vision of failure, their vision of confidence and stuff is different than what yours is. And so I think that's when sometimes you have to make the decision of how loud their voice is and how influential it is. And not that it's something in it. In no way am I a psychologist. Do I know about that stuff? But that's another journey, right? That's something separate in thinking about what voices are supporting me, like I said, and helping me and develop who I want to be and the impact that I want to make, and what are other voices. And maybe that particular person, their voice doesn't support me for that, but it supports me in other ways. It doesn't mean that the person can't still be a part of your life, but how? And it's sitting down and defining and understanding that. Once again, I'm not a psychologist. I do not know for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to move away from the black or white view of things.
I agree.
Ray, did you have something? I see you unmuted yourself.
So listen to what she said. I mean, the simplest thing is surround yourself with people that get you to yes, period. And if it's your parents, that's a whole different dimension. I get it. And family. But you have choices, and find friends, find people who believe in you, and stick with them and work with them. Because that's how do you think any of us got to where we are? Doing it by yourself is a lonely ass journey.
Yeah, it's something I've been realizing the older I grow. I'm 26 now. Is that you are
old.
Yeah, that's not old, but like but
it's good. You come to release. Coming to realization early on is really, really critical to the success of you. And I got ahead because I always believed in myself. At the end of the day, I believed in myself, and I had other people who believed in people who I worked with would call me back and say, "Do you want to work with me?" And that's it. You've made it when that happens. I'm not even looking at you. I'm looking right there. So, and I have to say, listen to what Gwen's telling you, because everything she's kind of putting together there is remember the first one was confidence.
Yep, definitely.
Right, Gwen? Yeah. Back me up here.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the very first one. So, and anyone else, please, if you have any questions, if you have any comments or anything, we don't mean to put Stephen on the spot here and unpack all of your stuff, but
I'm okay. I'm okay to bare my soul for this job.
Sometimes it helps in hearing other people's kind of similar doubts, that there are challenges that they experience and stuff, and you can hear that, and it helps you learn for yourself in here. But thank you for sharing, Stephen.
I like that, Kirsten. FAIL is an acronym for first attempt in learning.
Yes, that's a good one.
Does anybody else have any questions? I know probably hard to follow up with on me, but just anything else before we let Gwen go for today? If nobody else has anything, is there anything you'd like to take us out on, Gwen?
No, I don't. I have nothing additional. I think I've said everything that I can, and I just want to share that I want to reiterate the fact about confidence being a journey. I want everyone to know that I suffer from self-doubt, from insecurities. I'm constantly a work in progress, and I have simply identified some ways that work for me to build my confidence, and what works for me may not work for you, but it's just a matter of taking that time to understand what's going to help fuel you and build you, because you're already doing it. If you're here now, if you're a part of this, you came to this workshop, it's for a reason. The title, the content, whatever was going to be reviewed, attracted you to come here. So there's a desire for something. And if you're a founder, you are establishing something, it's something that's needed even more, because there's tremendous challenges ahead. And in order to move forward, confidence is really going to support you. So I wish you all that journey of self-awareness that will help you in building your confidence and being more courageous. So I'm available if you ever need. I think I put my contact information there, but I'm sure you can find me on LinkedIn in some way or something. And if you ever would like to have a conversation, I'm here to help.
And I was going to say, and the Rec Connect platform, definitely reach out there. We have all the contact information in there too for the Rec staff. So thank you, Gwen.
Thank you so much, Gwen. I really appreciate it.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Gwen.
No problem. I said we have a workshop next week as well about team building. I'm doing that with Gabby. So I will see the Rec next week.
Yep. Thank you so much, Gwen.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Bye, everyone.